All right. Well, we're still trying to crack the code on doing a Facebook Live with evidently with a phone and cell phone mode. You get a call and the audio gets knocked out. The system's not perfect, they might say. The system's not as good as it could be. Hey, Andra, nice to see you. So Sabelle and I we were trying to do a live broadcast here, and she got a call, and that knocked the audio out. And there, so she's coming on now. Okay, I send the invite. Adding Sabelle. We'll cross our fingers. We're crossing our fingers. There we go.
Hey,
Let's see. Let's see.
can you hear
Yeah,
me
yeah,
well? Can you hear me?
yeah. Everything's fantastic. So I think there must be some kind of weird thing happening with when you get a call, or I don't
Yes.
know. I haven't gotten a call yet while I've been on one of these, but yeah, there's
In French, we
the
would say,
technology is amazing. It's not perfect.
yes. In French, we would say, ce sont les aléas du direct. It means, that's what happens when you're going live. You can't kind of, it's
Oh
that.
yeah. If anything, that's a variation of Murphy's law, right?
Yes.
If
I was
anything can
saying
go wrong.
something just before we cut. I had a genius idea and I don't remember it anymore. I don't even know where we got. I don't know. What were we talking about?
We're talking about morning routine, tweaking the morning routine. Let's see.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think, yeah, being, anyway, maybe I was just saying that I was working on putting everybody back on track, something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was also thinking because after we mentioned that the morning routine that I had when I was a kid in elementary school, remembering what that morning routine was like, and it was a system. We had the same system, and the system enabled us to watch like every Warner Brothers cartoon ever made, right?
Mhm.
So every
Mhm.
Bugs Bunny, every Daffy Duck,
Yes. Yes.
because we had cartoons on the television in the morning, so we watched them for half hour, then quickly try to hop in the bath or whatever and get dressed and go to school. So
Yes.
we had that time in the morning. And
That's true.
I don't know with kids if they have that same sort of thing.
I remember having that because we would wake up at a certain time and do certain things and leave at
Yeah,
the same time.
yeah.
And the kids, I think they do have their routine. Bella Joy and Noah and Isaiah goes to school or much earlier. But Bella Joy and Noah, yes, they get up, they watch a little something, and then give them breakfast, and
And
then go
Isaiah
upstairs.
sounds like he has a pretty curated morning
Mhm.
routine.
You
It's
should see his routine. He wakes up at 5, like he has everything set. He journals, he
I
works
love it.
out, and
I love it.
he cooks his breakfast, and we
That's
leave
just
pretty
amazing.
early
Hey
to finish.
Martha, nice to see you.
Yes. Hey, Martha.
Martha Jeffers
Yes.
is joining
I
us.
was jealous. I saw her and Judy yesterday together. I was like, oh, to be with them. Anyway, yes. So anyway, I don't know. Are we going to continue to do the live right now, or are we for next time? Are we going to do it the way we used to do it?
uh, we can do it. We can do it either way. The only thing I don't like about that is I'm stuck in the same place
Oh, and you
all the
want to
time.
keep on doing live? Yes, that's true.
I like to do it, and I like now where I can stand. I have a little more flexibility. I can stand here, but also just going out into the wild is
Yes,
sometimes fun, but
yes,
it's a little less predictable. I think it is
yes,
something you work on. It's sort of like lives are like you said, anything can happen in a live,
yes, and
right?
it's less formal. Like my son right
Yeah.
now is in the kitchen making a lot of noise, and I feel like the whole world is listening. So it's
Well, the
very
whole
good.
the whole the whole world is listening. At least it looks like two people are watching and listening. Maybe if
Yes.
they
Hmm.
watch it in the future, it'll be the whole world. But
Yeah.
it's really like not literally the whole world. It's literally like four or
Yeah.
five people.
Yeah, but it's there for the whole world to see. Everybody can
Yeah,
see it.
yeah.
Or not, no, I think it's just our friends, right? Because
Yeah.
the way you like the way my Facebook is configured is only my friends and my friends' friends can see my stuff, not necessarily the whole world. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't care because I have nothing to hide. That's part of my new
Oh
that's my
yeah,
new way
open
of
book.
being, you know.
Hmm.
I
An
it's
open
like,
book. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah, there you go, an open book, or I'm just going to be
Yeah.
myself no matter what,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
And
And
that's,
since we have love, only love to give,
yes,
everybody
exactly.
can receive that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So
This
that's,
morning I was listening to something that is made that was very core, and I wanted to write a post on it. It was about when you're having interpersonal relationships, when you're talking with people, what's your intention?
mm,
And actually, the whole thing is two things are true. So, are you talking to someone with the desire to convince
mm,
or to understand?
right.
Because if you want to convince, it means that your idea, you want to make your point. It means that the other person is not feeling necessarily heard and felt and
Exactly.
all of
Yeah.
that because you have your point to make.
Yep.
And she said, if you live, it's a parenting book, and she says, if you live with that truth of saying that two things are true, you are always listening to the other person with the intention of understanding the person. So the person feels
Hmm.
listened to and
Yes.
felt that she exists. And she said most of the conversation, what's happening, it's not two people trying to convince one another, but it's two people trying to make sure to let the other person know that they're worthy, that they
Hmm.
have something to say. So she says
Hmm.
that it
Hmm.
goes far beyond. And I felt that
Yeah, I
it
love
was
that.
very, yeah, so uh, convincing or understanding. And I'm like, yeah, my value, could be two things are true. So you are whatever you say. I think we mentioned that when we talked about our faith last time on Thursday or
Hmm.
Friday, saying
Hmm.
the purpose is not trying to convince you that what I believe in is 100% what's true, because it's true for me, but it's not necessarily true for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And we can still have a conversation and a relationship despite what we both think.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Exactly. And if we're seeking to understand, we can also find common ground.
Exactly. We don't need to find common ground, because even that is kind of me just wanting, not being
Mm.
authentic,
Yeah. Okay.
right? It's just to understand you, to listen to, even if I don't agree. I know it's like the whole, I remember the coronavirus and the vaccinations, and people
Mm.
trying to convince you have to do the vaccine. You don't do it. I don't do it. You shouldn't do it. I'm like, you know what? The person who chooses to do it or not to do it, I think we all have done our homework. And whatever rings true to me is what I'm going to follow. And whatever rings true to you is what you're going to do. So, what's the point of trying to convince one another? We do our due diligence, we do our duty, and then, yeah.
Yeah. It was, and I think to a certain extent continues to be uh, a source of division,
Hmm.
or yeah, yeah, something that divides people to
Yeah,
one side
unfortunately,
and the
that,
other.
like politics, right? And
Yeah.
I said, we're human anyway, we're not gods or God. And so uh, whatever I believe in, it's depending on my context, on my background, on the way I was raised, and there's so many elements. So I can't impose to you what I think, right? I can share
Yeah.
with you my experience, and I think you should listen to my experience,
Yeah.
and I should do the same with you, and just accept one another.
Yeah. And just to extend that out a little bit, I don't think I've ever enabled somebody to change by convincing them of anything, because convincing is, it's sort of it's not a great energy to try to convince somebody, right?
Yeah, I think it's not only it's a great energy, but I don't think it's lasting, because the person will probably believe, in whatever you're telling the person, as long as you have a relationship with that person. But if the person goes with somebody else will try to if you're easily convincible, you will,
Mm-hmm.
like it's the Bible says, you will go by the waves, back and forth, through. And so if you make your own reasoning and you come to a conclusion, you're more likely to stick to it because it's your
Right.
own reasoning
Right.
rather than having somebody's opinion. Usually,
Yeah.
if you're someone who takes others' opinions, you change a lot, right?
Yeah.
Depending on whatever
Hey,
you're
Steve.
reading.
Steve Hardison's watching right now. Hey,
Hey,
Steve.
Steve
Hey,
from
Steve.
Peru.
And Martha said that there's so much about I'm right, you're wrong, and so that's a win-lose
It's a
paradigm.
win-lose, yes.
Yeah,
And if
rather
you're
than being
looking,
win-win.
yes,
Yeah.
win-win. For me, it's to be understanding of the other, to be loving, and
Yeah.
to receiving one another. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's that saying? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And you can
Exactly.
maybe even leave that part out of it and just seek to
Yeah.
understand. So or seek first to love.
Seek first to love, and the same goes. It makes me think of when you're reading a novel or poetry, romance, like whatever. Sometimes, and that's what I think we already had this discussion with kids at school when you want them to be critics, and sometimes we want the kids to be critics, even for them having understood, standing under what the author was trying to convey. Before you can criticize somebody or something, you need to understand the idea first, right?
Yes.
And when we are, teaching kids just to be critics, I think it makes it very difficult because they don't do the work to try to understand what the author was trying to convey, the whole idea. It's it's also humility, as we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to something you said just a second ago about it's because I was thinking as you were saying it's our job as coaches not to convince anyone of anything. It's our job to help them see so they can convince themselves of whatever they want to.
Yeah, we come alongside people, we don't, because we never said that we have the truth. We can share our experience, we can relate to the experience they're having, we can show compassion, and unconditional love. And what we do is help them have insight. And I know that the first thing that was very important for me when I was, becoming a coach is when you go to a conversation empty. And that's why you need to do your work before, so that I don't go to you, I'm not listening to you with all of the things in my head that will prevent me from hearing you.
Every time I go on a coaching call, when I'm coaching somebody or a consult or whatever, I'm deliberately creating time before, at least maybe 15 minutes, a half hour before, where I'm emptying my mind. So I'm not going to be there with any of my stuff.
And that was, I do the same. And that was very difficult for me because, again, just you and I, we read a lot, and I had all of my books, and I'm like, I have so much knowledge that I want to share or everything. And it was very difficult. And it's like, again, I need to be very aware of what I'm doing. Just make sure that everything that I know, it's not preventing me from hearing what the person is telling me. Is really emptying my mind and just being here. Not, and I don't have an agenda, as Philip Bartu and Matt Smith, they shared on the Ultimate Coach podcast. That episode was great. Hidden agenda.
That one really affected me. I sent a message to I think to both of them about how, realizing that a lot of what I was doing was living out, my hidden agenda. There's my hidden agenda right there. It was.
That's the beauty of conscious growth, because as you're having conversations with people, are you engaged in conversation, you have insight. And that's our job basically as coaches. It's having those conversations, digging deep so that you come to your own realization. And we're learning more about ourselves every day, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's my ulterior motive, actually,
Yes.
to learn more about myself, because the more I know about
Growing.
myself, the more I can help other people.
Yeah.
It's just like the more I know how to love myself,
Yeah.
I know how
I
who to be to love myself, I should say, right?
exactly.
Rather
And
than how.
ultimately it all again, it's all about love, right?
Yeah,
It all
yeah,
boils down to
yeah,
how much do you love the other person?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
I think we have this one in the can.
yes, we do have it
We
both
it,
together. I don't know how are you going to
I
merge
I
the
don't I
two?
don't know if I can. That might be some trick. We'll have to see.
Maybe you can do it like the title editing, part one, part two.
Perfect.
The
There you go.
episode.
There you go.
Yeah. We can
There
do
you
that.
go.
Yeah.
For the fullest effect, watch part one, then watch part two. Yeah. Uh-oh. But actually, it's a good thing maybe we have to stop there, because it looks like you froze. I don't know. I'll wait a second to see if you come back. Yeah, Steve, loving you. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I think I'm gonna cut it right here. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you soon. All right, loving you all. Bye.